Welcome back to my third episode of my historical playthrough of Victoria 3, playing as the nation of France, where I try to play the game out as close as possible to what actually happened in history. Let's get started. Keeping with the tradition of previous videos, we're going to begin by saying where things have gone wrong, or rather where they are not historically accurate. We are at January 19, 1860, and the biggest and primary thing is we are still in the Second Republic and should be in instead the Second Empire under the leadership of this fellow who I've been talking about for all three videos, Louis Napoleon Bonaparte, who is in government at this point, but with his wimpy 10.1% clout and headed downwards, he's probably not going to be in government for very long. He's certainly not the emperor that he should be, and probably never will. We left on a bit of a cliffhanger last time, where we were just going to sort of go all in and try and just pass autocracy straight out, and we are still going to do that, because why not? We'll just roll the dice and see what happens, but we are way, way, way off of what truly happened in history at this point, unfortunately, and the Second Empire should have begun in 1852. Here we are in 1860. It still hasn't even begun. It'll be done. It should be historically done by 1870. Only 10 more years, with a failed war against Prussia, the failed Franco-Prussian War. So we are going to totally crash against their walls here by 1870, and that should bring this video and the Second Empire, which doesn't exist anyway in this game, in this playthrough, to an end. So pretending for a minute that we are in the Second Empire, even though we're not, let's talk about what did happen during that time period between 1852 and 1870. Napoleon III, he had the Constitution rewritten to grant himself unlimited 10-year terms, where he could continue to quote-unquote run, and that basically placed him completely in charge of everything. But during that time, he didn't do a ton of bad things, I would say. I guess that's somewhat of a subjective rendering on my point. But a few of the things that did happen is that business and exports were promoted, and we are doing pretty fine there. We have several trade routes all over the place, so that's looking good. He expanded the Grand Railway network, greatly expanded Paris as well, and so we're going to put some extra love into Ile-de-France and grow all that out a little bit more. Be setting a goal of reducing some of this turmoil that's been here since the revolution. That'd be a good goal. Another thing that was done, Catholicism didn't become the state religion so much as it really was the state religion at the time. And so we're going to look into passing some laws to make that official, really. So right now we have freedom of conscience, and we're going to go in for state religion with Catholicism. On that one, that's going to be one of our goals. Also, in 1852, there was a significant increase to public schooling. We, in the last video, put in place the fallow laws, which did come in place in 1851, which delegated a lot of education to the Catholic Church and to religious institutions. So we're just going to kind of keep that rather than switching to public schools. We certainly could switch to public schools, but it was not a one or the other in history. So there were public schools and there were still religious schools. So rather than choose one or the other, we're just going to stick with religious schools, and I'm not going to make that kind of a big deal. And then the final thing is, domestically, is that there was a significant increase in the use of steamships, which we're going to get into a little bit more now that we have passed, on the military side of things, the ironclad. So let's dig into this a little bit more. Napoleon commissioned 15 steamer ships. And so the French Navy was the second largest navy at the time, second only to Great Britain. In fact, we even see a French term here. I believe it's pronounced jeune école, which was a doctrine created by a French military theorist, and it was the concept that advocated the use of small, heavily armed vessels to combat larger battleships and do raiding. So a French concept here. We've got a lot of history in place. So we have ironclad already. What we just need to do is switch the Navy over to it. Before we go ahead and just change everything, I think we actually can just change everything. So if I switch everything over, we'll have some price hits. Fine, we'll deal with that in a minute. But ironclads, we're going to need like 164 more of them. Let's just go ahead and let a week go by and see what happens here. Oh, we completed a quest. Yay. So do we want to have stronger defense, offense, or rule the waves? Let's do the power production. We might not be number one, but dang it, we take number two very seriously. So with the week pass, let's go ahead and look at our market. And we, of course, have no ironclads, so we need 164 of them. But it turns out that if we switch over our shipyard production to this, that even the largest shipyard that we have, and if we did military shipbuilding, should meet the need. Just even one. Did we send ironclads? Yeah, down to the bottom. So even just one will make 248 ironclads for us, making them extremely cheap, which is good for the pocketbook, but bad for the actual companies that are making them. So we do have another shipyard that we could switch over that's only 9 instead of 10, but you know what? Maybe they can lose money there for a little bit. Also, when we see here that the price of these things just tumbled because we just don't have a big enough navy to make use of them yet. Now, we do have steamers as well, which are used for civilian purposes, so we could go ahead and switch all of our fishing industries over to steamers, which is fine. We can see, again, they're not making a ton of money here. But it's not because the steamers themselves are cheap. It's because their output products... this is a frustration of mine with Victoria 3, frankly, is that you've got this early use of oil before anybody seems to really care about it. So the whaling stations is producing a ton of oil. Okay, see, so here you go. It's the game's sort of fixing itself economy-wise. I'm sure there's trade routes that are going on and everything. So we're going to keep with that historical piece and switch our entire navy. I don't know if that was accurate back then. Probably wasn't. Over to steamships. But that was certainly something that happened during the Second French Empire under Napoleon's rule. And that's really going to be about it for our domestic agenda for the next 10 years. We're going to let this autocracy thing go, whatever route it takes. We're down to 9%. If it dies, so be it. I'm not going to take any drastic actions to try and get it through, because by the time we get to 1870, 1871, we're going to flip it back to a republic again, the Third Republic. That'll not happen at the end of this video, but probably be the beginning of the fourth video. So we're just going to let this thing roll. We're going to go ahead with Catholicism as a state religion. We've already done our steamships, and we're going to beef up the capital a little bit. Other than that, this entire 10 years is going to be focused on foreign policy, and primarily a couple of conflicts and wars that we're going to have over in the Indochina area, the Franco-Prussian War, and Italian independence. Let's dig in and look at those a little bit more. One war has already passed us, well, it wasn't really a war, excuse me, one military action has really already passed us by, and there was a bombardment of Morocco. We may go ahead and do that. And that resulted in just a financial arrangement there, where Morocco agreed to pay 100,000 francs to France. This happened in 1851. We are going to have some future activity in Morocco, so maybe I'm not going to pick on them, like just to pick on them and get caught up. The Crimean War, which we talked about in the previous video, occurred from 1853, it looks like, to 1856, and was really predicated based on, at least what I'm reading, an act of Russian aggression against the Danubian territories. You can kind of see that a little easier if we look at our interests here. To my knowledge, that hasn't happened, and so I'm not going to aggress Russia for this reason. Number one, because I don't want to, because they're absolutely freaking ginormous. And number two, that historically did not happen. So we came to the Ottoman Empire's defense for the Crimean War, and that just straight may have passed already. So we're certainly past that timeline-wise, being in 1860, as we are, and so we're just not going to pursue that even at all. Second Opium War, but what we are going to focus on quite a bit are three other conflicts. The Indochina campaign, which we're going to do quite a bit. The the Italian independence wars. And then finally, at the end of this video, the Franco-Prussian War, where we're going to lose deliberately. Sucks, but whatever. History. So Vietnam, modern-day Vietnam, was occupied by the French until 1954. I had no idea. And it was really a French colony, at least to start with, called French Indochina, which occupied these lands here. Dai Nam. I don't know how that's pronounced. Luang Prabang. Okay, that was a part of it as well. And it's looking like these territories here. Can we switch to states? Will that make it easier for us? What are we looking at? Yeah, okay. So, Laos, Tonkin, Annam, Siamese Laos, all of those we are going to try and colonize, occupy. So, we're going to be focused on that fairly soon. And by fairly soon, I mean right now. So we currently have a treaty port that we did in the last video, which started the Indochina campaign. And that ended up bringing us to truce with Dai Nam. Let's go ahead and see them here. Okay. Which we have for 3 more years. Now, as I start looking around at the other countries, or states, or whatever, I do not have the ability. It's just, I tend to like go after puppet to annex. That's just my approach for conquering. When I don't have a restore state kind of my Europa Universalis roots are going to show here, as I'm going to call it a restore state, casus belli. So as I see why we can't make them a puppet, it's because, well, let's see if we can lock that screen in place. It's because they're already a subject to another country, Dai Nam, and we have a truce with Dai Nam until, okay, so we can't do anything in Dai Nam or Cambodia until 1463, so 3 more years. So we can go after Siam. Let's see what options we have here. We do have a conquer state option here at 5.7. Apparently we don't have a puppet option for them. Let's see why not. I don't really want to puppet them anyway, because we only want this state here. Okay, but let's see why we don't have them. We can't puppet them because they're also already subject to another country. Who are they subject to? They're a vassal of... Oh, I see. So this, well, yeah. Oh, I'm looking at Champasak as a country, not as Siam as a country. Okay. So let's look at them. Well, again, we don't want to puppet them. What's going to happen if we try to liberate them? Grant them independence. Okay. But I don't want to make them independent than just to conquer them again. Which I don't mind doing just from a... I'm not talking about morality necessarily, but rather, you know, gameplay mechanics. It would just cause me to have to kind of wait for too long. So perhaps we'll start off by making an effort to conquer Champasak as a state. So we could probably do a conquer here as well. No, we can puppet them. Oh, because that's Siam. All right, we're not trying to do that. Well, so what's going on here? Why are they separate? Oh, this is the actual country. All right, fine. They're not fully annexed by Siam yet. That's what's going on here. Okay. So we have an opportunity to conquer as well. Not too bad of a hit for infamy. I think that's where we're going to start. We should be able to, using our treaty port, make our way up there. That's probably not true. Alright, let's, I'm going to explore that for a little bit. I think we can pull this off. I'm going to start a conquer play against them. We'll face Champasak, Siam. They're a landlocked state. And I have a treaty port here. However, I can't apparently go stomping across Mekong without doing a violate sovereignty on them, which maybe I can do. I don't see it as an option yet. Perhaps I have to be at war to have it as an option. The concepts of military access in Victoria 3 are a little underdeveloped at this point, but I have faith. So, because Siam is going to come to their rescue as a protected sub-nation, I can, or at least I should be able to, make a naval landing against them. So we're gonna make that our focus here. So we're getting close to it. Nobody has declared and come to their aid, which I'm happy about. To war! War has broken out. So I don't have any sort of violate sovereignty option. Fine. I anticipated that. So what I do have ready to go are a couple armies and a navy. So we're going to perform a naval invasion against Nakhon Ratchasima. We're going to use our... You know what? Might as well bring over the French Foreign Legion. That's what they're for. Although I've got 60 flotillas and 60 army here. So we'll have French Foreign Legion coming as backup. And it's going to take a few weeks for this to happen, I think. 6 weeks. So let's fast forward to that. Alright, 3 more days. Looks like we're going to be able to land unopposed. No, naval battle. Okay. I just built steamships, ironclads. Unfortunately, they're not going to stand much of a chance. What was it, 60 versus 6? Yeah, that's not going to happen. What's this on the autocracy side? I'm mostly just going to pay attention to this stuff later. So, Battle 1. Okay, and here's our naval landing. 38 offense versus 15 defense. Yeah, it's unfortunately, once again, we brought a gun to a sword fight. So we should be able to have a successful naval invasion and create canneries. And baking powder. Yay, who wants to cook? Anyway, a successful naval invasion, and then we'll create a front and be able to march on in towards the state that we're trying to conquer. So we will also, at this point, where's our front? Okay. Let's go ahead and set Champasak as a nothing. Thought I could set it as a strategic objective. Apparently not. Alright, how about you as a strategic objective? So the front will kind of push that way a little bit more. And then we'll bring in the French Foreign Legion to come in and be a legion in a foreign country. That's what they do. I really know nothing about them, but... we'll see how this war prosecutes out from here. As anticipated, and I'm glad I brought the Foreign Legion over, as we pushed up the front split. And so, okay, we're going to just designate this as a strategic objective now. And so I'm glad that we had the Foreign Legion here. The front split, so we got this one here where they started. And this one was like a 0% front, which would have, if left unchecked, we would have shrunk back down again. So with the two forces, we're able to make significant progress here. I should have thrown some war reparations on that to at least make money. But I suspect, yeah, we're done. So it's ours. Okay, so the first state is ours. It is completely isolated, unfortunately. But hopefully we can get to 1863. Maybe this was just stupid to do anyway. But maybe we can get to 1863 and do a puppet of Dainam, and then we'll have made a little bit more progress. It was really just that I wanted to do something here without just waiting for 3 years. So we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, the movement for autocracy is just going to fail. There was actually even an event earlier where it said, Napoleon said, I don't believe in this. I'm about to leave government. And I almost just let him because he's caused me so much problems. The very guy who wants autocracy is like, this is against my principles. I'm going to leave. Anyway, so we're on our second setback already because I've been trying to keep it alive. But one of the things that we see here, in the way that it's structured, and you look at the number... okay, it's not going to let me... Hold on. I'm hoping I can lock the screen in here. Is... Okay, there's a 10.4% chance it'll just move forward. What we really want is an advance, right? Where it will give us a higher chance for anything. Because right now, it's either 10% chance succeed, and that's just move forward a notch to study, right? Or, why do I keep doing this? Or 83.2% chance to straight stall out. That none of these two middle ones, which give you a chance to make some decisions to, improve your odds. These were all super low, and I suspect it's just because we had the low chance to start with. So we're 2 setbacks in. There's no chance this thing's going to happen. I am completely ignoring the Second French Empire. We're going to do what they did in terms of domestic and foreign agenda, but there's just simply not going to be an emperor, which really sucks, because I really, really, really wanted to see this Second Empire here, but it's not going to happen. Let's keep moving on. So we'll start a bit of a domestic agenda at this point. We did have... what was it? Steel frame buildings complete, which gives us a change to a whole change to our construction sector, which is nice. So we've been iron frame buildings before. We switched to steel frame buildings. It's going to really impact our economy, but let's just see. Because I'm not, well, I guess we are. Private sector's building quite a bit. So maybe let's not be so hasty to rush into that. Let's go ahead and just switch, okay, one of them here, and see what impact we have. Okay, so far so good. Everyone's still in the silver. This is another odd thing that happens in this game, is you can go here and say everything's gonna be gold and copper, meaning, you know, the goods are gonna be ridiculously expensive or ridiculously cheap. And then you can switch the buildings one by one, and they'll all be fine. Which, I don't know. Oh, I guess there's some gold. Okay, so let's not go any further with that until we normalize out our steel and glass production. We can do a little bit of work on that. A rubber rush. Okay. Don't know that we really need rubber right now, but whatever. So anyway, continuing on with that, it's also worth noticing here that the Suez Canal is going to be done in 7 weeks. So we're going to call that a domestic agenda, even though it's overseas. But we're going to deal a lot with that and production and attracting population, that sort of thing. So for now, we're going to keep on working the buildings, the economy, and convert over wholesale, eventually, to steel frame buildings. So, you know, we're looking kind of good here. Let's do one more. Hopefully it's not going to mess us up too bad. And it'll just give our private sector goals to work towards to make them some money. And they'll come through and spice up the economy for us here quite a bit. 457 development. I'm not a super Victoria 3 pro. There might be some people looking at me at 1861 being like, bro, you should have like 3,000 development at this point. If you're one of those people, feel free to drop your logic in the comments. I'd appreciate that. And but otherwise, we're just going to kind of take it slow and easy. The Suez Canal did complete construction. We didn't get the completion of the journal entry for it because it requires 90% workforce occupancy, which is going to be a struggle. So I'm working to try to attract people to French Sinai right now. We really don't have a whole lot here. I guess we should upgrade our port a little bit too. Added the greener grass campaign here to try and increase migration attraction. And so this is just going to be a waiting game. Obviously, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch that. But it should complete one of these days, soon enough, I suppose. As predicted, autocracy went down in flames, and it's gone, it's out. Just not going to happen. Paris still has a ton of turmoil here. It really kind of sucks. Thought we cracked down on that, but apparently not. What do we have here? Okay. Turmoil from radical pops, so there's just a ton of... And I think it's just because we have this crazy amount of unemployment here. There's just crazy unemployment in the capital. So we're going to need to put people to work and figure out how we want to do that. I think what we're going to do is be a little interventionist, even though we're not. We're still running laissez-faire. And I think in France, we're going to basically go, all right, we're going to just do by the market. And if something needs to be built, we're going to build it in the capital and put people to work. So for example, you want art, we're going to build art. Where's our art academy? You know what, let's just do it straight through the, here. You know, and I'm just going to be managing those myself as opposed to waiting for capitalists to do it. It is September 2nd, 1863. Historically, the Indochina campaign would have been done at this point, so we're a little late. No big deal. we're going to go ahead and start a play. 36 infamy, or not. Okay. That would suck. Alright, I was going to do puppet, but we'll do dominion instead. On these folks. Okay, and let's see/hope that nobody gets involved. We'll go ahead and move our troops over here. Oh, we've already got troops over here. That is awesome. And don't need to do a naval invasion, so that's relatively good news. And we'll see how it goes. So this would be a Dominion taking a big infamy hit already. I really like to keep us under 25 because without it, then everybody starts getting pissed off at you and trying to beat up on you, which sucks. I like to just fly under the radar. We do have some potential big global, well, I shouldn't say global, but great power conflicts coming up. If an Italian War of Independence occurs, which I've done everything I can to set it up at this point, I can't start it. I'd have to wait for somebody else to start it and join it. But then also in 7 years, we have the Franco-Prussian War, which we're going to start and lose because we're awesome. So let's get this war underway. Do we have any other war goals here? Again, I'm not really sure. I want to take the hit on this one. No. Let's go ahead and just have this be what it is. And we should be able to make some progress and also have enough land access to be able to take the other states that we need to. Alright, peace treaty. Subjugation of Vietnam has occurred. You can see it here outlined. That Cambodia and Luang Prabang are really the only thing holding us back from having all of French Indochina. We're still 2 years too late. I don't really know how long it took to sort of finish up the campaign, but we will continue to prosecute it. Let's take a look and see what we have here. They're probably still... I really should have put a transfer subject on them. So we probably won't have Cambodia until we annex Vietnam. These folks... Who are they? What you got? They're a tributary of Siam. Okay. So we're definitely going to be back to war with Siam again to have Laos and these two states here. Cambodia, I'm really not sure what we're going to do about. They're a tributary of Vietnam, who is a tributary of me at this point. Let's see if there's any interactions with them. Okay, Cambodia, liberate, independent. What's the difference? Forces Cambodia to grant... I don't even know what that is. Transfer subject. Okay, French cannot have a tributary type subject due to being a recognized... I'm not sure what that means. And we have a truce with Vietnam until 69. So we're going to consider the Indochina campaign at this part over. In terms of this video, we will continue to prosecute it for the remainder of the playthrough to bring in these historical boundaries, but at this point it was just started a little bit too late and for us to really do anything about. So we have domestic affairs to focus on and also a very large war coming up in 6 years to get focused on. So let's spend some time working back home a bit first. So I'm happy about something that I just noticed while I've been pushing domestic agenda. Turmoil for the capital dropped below 30. So, feeling good about meeting some of my goals. We've reduced turmoil, we've expanded the capital. I started a program of increasing our arts and university in Paris. We have made significant progress on the Indochina campaign. You can see here in the blue that just Cambodia as a subject of Dainam is left, and we're waging war up here in Luang Prabang. We have upgraded our military. We have built the Suez Canal. We're just trying to get employment for it. It's a little bit slow. So we've definitely done some migration attraction here, the greener grass and social mobility campaigns. All right, well, we just forced our war goals on folks, although apparently that didn't finish the war. Not really sure what our war goal was that got forced on them. Anyway, so we're still trying to take territory over there. French West Africa, not really one of our goals this time around, but it's definitely taking shape. We see Great Britain is making their kind of traditional occupation of the African continent. They're pushing up a little close to this area here, which will be French Equatorial Africa. So we need to get malaria prevention passed pretty quickly. And so far so good, making good progress towards our goals. And the final thing we're going to do is go to a suicidal losing war against Prussia, even though I think I could probably take them at this point. Okay, but we can't do anything with them. I'm glad I'm seeing this, because it's time to start trashing diplomacy with them. Oh no, we have cold relations. Oh, I probably just can't do a war because I'm already in the middle of one. So we need to gear up to go to a losing war with Prussia. This was too funny for me to not include. Apparently, Britain is having a civil war. And even funnier is apparently the United States is going to support Great Britain in their civil war. So, pretty sure this didn't actually happen at all, ever, in any universe. But RNG, it happens in video games. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming. In 1870, here we are at the precipice of the last and final war of this video, the Franco-Prussian War, which I've been kind of dreading. And we're going to be the aggressor in this, and we're going to lose. For history, the politics and diplomatic situation leading up to this, I'm not even going to pretend to have an awareness of. It looks like Prussia is not as strong or unified as they were in history. There was an area of northern Germany that was involved here. I'm going to do this whole thing just a terrible injustice. I welcome any visitors, friends, enemies from Europe or any of these nations to please come in and tell us what's what. But what we are going to do, just for pure nerdiness' sake, is we're going to do this in the exact timeline that the first two events occurred. And so what we see is that France mobilized their army, it looks like July 15th, and we didn't skip it already, did we? Nope. And also went to war on July 19th of 1870. So let's go ahead and, what is this? Belgium wants to trade with us. Apparently the British Civil Revolution was successful. Okay. No. We're about to go to war. Leave me alone. So then I'm just going to see what the war looks like in terms of fronts, who's involved, and all that stuff. And we will go ahead and do it. So we're going to be waiting for July 15th. Austria's damaging relations with us. Yeah, well, yeah, okay. But I'm nice. Although I'm not really nice. I think the whole world's going to be like, what? And come against me at this point. So here we go, July 15th. Alright. We're going to frickin' mobilize everybody. Oh. Alright, well, I guess we should declare war here. Alright, so, what are we going to do? How are we going to declare war? I don't really want to conquer states because we're not going to. So, maybe I'm just going to say, like, oh, that'll give me 35 infamy. Wow. Well, it's probably time to take a beating. Oh, it's going to be 35 infamy no matter what. Alright, let's do it. Let's do regime change. Start of the play, we'll face these enemies. Prussia, 2 Sicilies, Ottomans, and all these other countries may jump in. This is going to be painful. So, let's do it. Ew. Sucks. Okay. What do we got here? Austria wants to make a dominion in North Germany. I'm pretty sure Prussia's supposed to be doing that, but, you know, okay. I'm going to just declare neutrality on that one because I've already got my hands full here. My 293 versus 562. We have one front. Now, I'm not going to totally go crazy on this because we're going to be losing. So, I don't mind just holding defensive ground. Just because we're going to lose... Oh, see, everybody hates me. Defensive pact broken, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this is going to suck. Seems like this was somewhat historical. East India, everybody's going to side with them. Boom, 856. What's that going to do to our foreign? Oh, wow. Okay, so Pondicherry's going to be here. Who's throwing war goals in at this point? What do they want? Oh, I can't do that. Come on. I can't give you all of Dynam. You want Dynam and you want to transfer. No, bro, you're supposed to take Alsace. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. You're supposed to take these ones here. I can't. Oh, no, I'm screwed. Alright, let's get it started and see what happens. Okay, either I'm gonna get absolutely destroyed, which is possible, and they're gonna take Dynam from me, which is gonna completely unwind one of my primary goals for this entire playthrough, or I have to somehow not lose. I don't say win, because I really don't think that's gonna happen, but maybe I can lose with style, so to speak. So, if I offer up humiliation, if I can grind them down to a standstill, and then offer humiliation, that could be my way out of this mess. Who's in at this point? 2 Sicilies, whatever. Ottomans, Hohenzollern, and East India. Okay, so, I mean, I've got basically the risk of fairly significant naval invasion coming here. But I don't think they're going to be able to grind me down to 0, or below 0, without something significant. So we're going to work this front for a little bit. And see what we've got going on here. I think I'm pretty strong militarily. Let's see. Yeah, they're 57 offense versus my 81. That should be sliding on over. Okay, good. So this is fine. If I can hold them here, then that's good. But we're going to be keeping an eye on a lot of potential fronts all over the place. What do we have? We've got some front at South India, and there's got to be a naval invasion coming here sooner or later. So I'll bring you in on the next significant events. So my losing battle is going a little better than I expected. I'm just holding the line here against Prussia, and with such strong defense, I'm winning everything. I'm not invading, so you know, okay, fine. What did we? Thought it did establish a colony here. Oh, okay. So nobody wants to humiliate me yet. I'm going to be humiliated and give them this treaty port in Madras, since really French holdings in India really just kind of melted away over time. But what I really do not want to do is give up Dainam, because that's part of my goals. So we'll see. I will keep fighting and quote unquote losing, wink wink, until it comes. So we'll see. So this war is apparently going to grind on forever and ever and ever, with neither side dropping below 0. Once they added this ridiculous demand to take Dainam from me, it's like, no. You can have my treaty port, you can even have my dignity, but you can't have Dainam. It was one of my primary objectives. So I'm going to end. We've accomplished many of our goals, one of which was taking Dainam, so I'm not going to hand it back, like, right at the end. That would be kind of stupid. We did not get a chance to switch the state religion to Catholicism, which I'm kind of bummed out about. We are very close to constructing the Suez Canal. I believe it should be finished at any moment. So that's good. Yeah, we got a pretty high level of occupancy there, 88%. Maybe why don't we just see if we can push it all the way up to 90%, and or get a trade agreement with Brazil. No thanks. And maybe we'll call it. Oh, there it is. All right, let's get out of the way. The Suez Canal was completed. Yay! So we're going to go ahead and end. Because this next period of time, from 1871-72, begins the Belle Époque, which will last all the way to World War I, start of World War I in 1914. We'll have the era of the Third French Republic, which should be the third because the Empire should have come between it, which we were just never able to pull off. So Wikipedia has this: occurring during the era of the Third Republic. It's a period characterized by optimism, peace, prosperity, colonial expansion, technological, scientific, cultural innovations, and we get to build the Eiffel Tower. Woot woot! So we're going to go ahead and just let this war go. It will go into our next video, and we'll hopefully wrap it up with our humiliating loss that doesn't involve giving away Dainam. But we will start on the Belle Époque, and I'll see you back then. Thanks again for watching.